Moral, Social and Cultural Studies, Grade 5, Volume 2, Lesson 6, City Planning in Classical Civilization. From this lesson, we are going to discuss about what do you need to think about when planning the design of a city. Why is it important to have big, impressive building in a city? Lesson objectives are by the end of the lesson, students will understand importance of design and planning when building a city. Explain the need for emblematic buildings for a city. Identify services a city needs to provide for its people. Key vocabulary and its definitions. Architecture, the style and design of buildings. Grid design, a style of designing roads in straight lines and blocks. Entertainment, events or activities done for fun. Pericles, a leader of classical Athens. Parthenon, a building in classical Athens. Modern cities follow some type of design grid. The roads are lined up and public areas are in central areas. There are waste management centers, other services areas. Many cities have parks and shopping centers too. In the ancient period, cities were starting to be organized. The grid designs of some ancient cities from over 2000 years were similar to where the grid designs of cities today. For example, ancient cities in the Indus Valley in Pakistan and Teotihuacan in Mexico had central plaza areas and paved roads running in straight lines from the central to outer areas of the cities. In the classical period, as outer areas of the cities in the classical period. As population increased and cities grew in size, planning a city became even more important. The drains in Harappa, the granaries of storehouses, streets in Harappa, town hall and house in Harappa are the example for that. One of the most unique features of the Harappan civilization was the development of large urban centers such as Mohenjo-daro and Harappa. As we can divide into two parts, citadel and lower town. Archaeological excavations at Mohenjo-daro revealed that the city of Mohenjo-daro was divided into two sections, the citadel and the lower town. The houses in the lower town were built along roads and streets that were laid out in the form of a grid. Archaeological evidence suggests that the building in the citadel and the lower town were built on platforms which acted as foundations for the buildings. Tenochtitlan. Tenochtitlan is a four major road connected the city to the mainland or the docks. These were built to accommodate heavy traffic and were so wide that it could fit 10 houses side by side. Along each of these major highways were located many of the larger cities' buildings with a series of gates and drawbridges located at the entrances to the city. Aqueducts brought in fresh water from springs on the mainland. These were lined with terracotta bricks and came in paired decks so that repairs could be done easily. The Aztecs excelled at city planning and water management. Pericles was a famous leader of Athens who lived from 495 to 425 BC. Pericles wanted to make Athens the most powerful city-states in Greece. Part of this was a building plan. Pericles wanted great buildings so that people could see how important Athens was. The Parthenon was one of these buildings, as you can see here. At that time, different cities in Greece were often at war with each other. So, Pericles decided to build a high city of Acropolis on a high cliffs near the sea. From this point, any ships coming to Athens could be seen by lookouts and people could be warned if an enemy was approaching. It was thus named because it stands on a hilltop that overlooks the city of Athens. The Acropolis was also known as the Scare Rock and was built for defensive reasons during the wartime. The Greeks used it to get a better view of the position of enemy forces. The Acropolis had several buildings, with the largest one being the Parthenon. Large pieces of stones were brought from 10 kilometers away. The buildings was done carefully so the shaped stones fitted together in columns. Metal fasteners inside the columns provided strength and flexibility for the columns even during the earthquakes which were common in Greece. The Acropolis served as the venue for festival celebrations and historically significant events during the peak of Athens' power. The Parthenon had a wooden roof and curved painted artwork inside and outside. The Parthenon had different uses. One use was to impress foreign visitors. Another purpose was a treasury to keep the city's money and wealth. The Parthenon was a strong building. Today, over 2,500 years later, a lot of it is still standing. The Parthenon was an important building to the city of Athens. What made it important? Think. Think of an important building in a city, you know. What make it important? Imagine living in a city of 1 million people. What does a city this size need? This was the problem the city of Rome had 2000 years ago. Planning a city this size was very important. In the centers of the city was the forum. The forum has a large open area with important buildings around it. There would be the basilica, that means the law court, and a building for town meetings. The markets were usually around the forum area. People could come here to buy their food. Romans wanted to employ themselves. The Romans had different buildings with activities to keep the people happy. There were amphitheaters for play and sports competition, and amphitheaters was an outside stadium. The Colosseum, an example of an amphitheater in Rome. At the Colosseum, people could watch competitions and fights. There were smaller outside tracks with seated called circuses. Circus means circle because the track had a circular or oval shape. People watched the chariot racing at circuses. The city of had places of shop, meet, get water, and have fun. City provides services for the people who live there. List services in ancient Rome. What services does a modern city provide? Rome, a modern city. Here added some points. Rome, entertainment, law courts, food markets, housing, roads. Modern city, providing more services. Here I included some of them: schooling, malls, public transport, telecommunication, etc. Book activity 3. Answer the following questions. Who was Pericles? A builder, a traveler, a leader, a merchant. A leader. What was the Parthenon used for? To watch sports events, to keep valuable safes, to hold chariot races, to hold assemblies, to keep valuables safe. What is architecture means? A place to watch fights and races, a style used when making buildings, the people who plan buildings, place to buy and sell goods? Yes, the answer is tiles used when making buildings. Where could people buy vegetables and meat in Rome? Basilica, Forum, Amphitheater, Circus. Yes, Forum. The text described ancient Greek and Roman Empire architecture. There are many types of architecture listed. Choose one, search for information about it, and fill in the table with your results. Housing in classical Rome. A city like Rome needed to plan housing for its people. In Rome, there were two main types of houses. They are called domus, that means house, and insula, that means apartment. A domus was a house of for rich, like a big villa today. Domus are large with many rooms and private garden. The house would have a wall around it for safety. Many of the people in Rome were poor. They lived in an insula. They lived in the insula, which are similar to flats or apartments today. Insula were buildings with up to four levels. Normally, a shop would be on the ground floor, and 10 people would live in the first or third floor. The apartments closest to the bottom were more expensive. The cheaper ones were at the top. This was because climbing stairs was tiring and danger of fire. If there was a fire, the people in the top would be the last to escape. Compare the two types of housing and fill in the table. Domus and insula. Yes, domus is a house. It's for rich people. It has many rooms, garden, wall around it. Insula is an apartment or flat. It's for poor people. Many levels are there. Danger of fire. Thank you for watching.